Namaste, angels. This will be a 30-minute client reading. I'm going to try to keep it within the 30 minutes, give or take a few, because I have so many to do. Not complaining. I'm very happy about that, very excited. But the people who are to receive them are equally as excited and deserving of receiving theirs too. So I want to be able to get as many done as I can. So whereas I normally don't care, you know, if we go into overtime or whatever, and I still don't in general, but for the purposes of being able to get as many readings done as possible, I'm going to try to stay. So I'll just do what feels most important to do, critical to do the spreads at the time. This is for a Sagittarius. That's all I know about her. I've never read for her before. Excuse me. So everything else will be brand new. I can tell you that just from shuffling what I was feeling, somebody involved in this union is influenced or has an unhealthy relationship with another person. Not necessarily romantic, but I mean, obviously that's possible. And it doesn't even have to be a present connection. It could be like an ex or something with whom you still have cords, and or a kind of heavy, maybe chemical and or emotional imbalance in this relationship. And that may be why I'm beginning with transience, which, you know, as you can see, is a card that is reflective of a need for healing and to surrender to that healing, to allow it to be possible in your life. And opening to sorrow. Sorrow is, well, pretty straightforward. It is about sorrow, yes, but also, of course, pain. Could be negative cords of attachment, negative emotions, this imbalance that I was feeling, an emotional imbalance, a chemical imbalance. Maybe it's brought on by medicine or something, maybe somebody's controlling it with medicine, maybe somebody's bipolar. I'm not sure, but I felt that, I felt a toxic relationship with someone, but maybe it's with something too, or both. For somebody. Anyway, there's another indication already of the need for healing for one or more parties involved in this relationship. Meditation. And there's a need to let go of expectation. So this is something that warrants healing as well. This is a control issue. And sort of trying to control our destiny and the outcome and how it happens and when it happens in our life, and basically to put like restrictions on the universe and therefore ourselves, because when we try to dictate to the universe how to do for us, you know, what we would have it do and when and all that, all it does is block our blessings, and we end up getting, you know, you get nothing. you ask for all that kind of stuff so specifically, and you end up with nothing. So there's an idea of a need to let go of the control issues here, and again to heal ourselves in that area. Jumped away and showed me the expectancy again. I'll go one more, and it's inner child. So that some of these things that I'm feeling and now that seeing along with you may stem from childhood. Could be something you went through with your family, with parents. Maybe that's the third energy that I'm feeling, a parent or something. Or it could be a partner with whom you have some difficulties and struggles because of your relationships, you know, with people in general growing up. And there's a need to improve the relationship with yourself, and maybe even the inner child still within. Also, this card for me can be, there's medical sirens coming through now too. That's like Archangel Raphael's energy, getting louder and louder. Need for healing. Also, this card for me very reflective of the energy of air signs, and in particular Aquarius, but it can be. And I just heard and like felt earth too. And I guess that's possible with all this green too. So maybe this is just telling me something about Uranus in Aquarius. And you may want to look up how Uranus in Aquarius would affect a Sagittarius. or I don't know what the, you know, divine masculine sign is. I'm going to cut. This card also reflective of air and water, and the last one could have been too. I mean, the last one, it didn't just have the green, it had some blue in it also. So there could be signs of air, water, earth, you know, all of the above. But this one definitely, while it speaks and you know, from looking at it, air and water to me, is also, for me, it's connected to the same energy as the Temperance card in the tarot, because it too is about the need for healing and of what balance. Right, I've been talking about imbalance since before I even started, you know, playing with the cards here, because that's what I felt. So there's a need for that, for somebody's inner yin and yang to come together, and maybe balance in the relationship too. But Temperance and this card for me is an indication that the universe is going to help you with that, especially if you seek it to, and, you know, send you some healing energy also. And it's that energy of restoration to wholeness. So where you are feeling like broken apart and in bits and pieces and fractions of yourself as an individual or the relationship, restoral to wholeness, what you lost, you're getting back, and that sort of thing. It's recovery. And Temperance in the traditional tarot represents the sign of Sagittarius again. So that's applicable in that way as well. Happier note, the overall energy is celebration. Divine feminine by herself, the masculine as it relates to the feminine, himself, and the union as a whole. Overall, what the masculine would have the feminine do: contribute, surrender toward the union, making it work. Whatever that means for them, making it work. What he himself is willing to. What the universe will have the two do, and the outcome. Divine feminine, eternal flame. And of course, this is reflective as well of fire signs, right? The flame. So Sagittarius, like your own Sagittarius, also Aries, Leo, perhaps even Scorpio. Particularly now, while your ruling planet Jupiter is in the sign of Scorpio, which is in part ruled by Mars, the red planet, of course, also ruler of fire sign Aries. So this is good. Your passions are burning. And they've been ignited and are burning. So it's a good time for you to be creative too and work on, you know, whatever drives those passions for you. Masculine about the feminine. Inner child. So he sees this need to work on healing. I wasn't sure to whom this applied, but it would look and feel now that it's about you. And that he sense that some of the things that maybe don't go as you would want them, or he would want them, between you, come from something that you're dealing with from childhood, or from your past, not necessarily childhood, from your past. Could be past relationships too, perhaps with an air sign, and maybe more specifically an Aquarius. Or an earth sign. Maybe more specifically a Taurus. The masculine about himself. Birth. So this is like ready to start new things. Kind of the energy of the Empress, at least in part for me. With, you know, these three rays, the Empress, major arcana card 3 in the tarot, represents the planet Venus for me, ruler of Taurus, Libra, Gemini. All about abundance. 3s represent abundance, creativity, creation, the creator. So this sort of sacredness and sanctity. This card also for me has the energy of like Scorpio too, because of, and like I said, this could also be water with this blue, all this blue in here. But because of like, you know, death and rebirth and like being born again. And the Pentecostal dove also very reminiscent of being born again for me, because you know, the celebration of the Pentecost is connected to the resurrection of not just Jesus, but according to the scriptures, even the Bible. And Christians seem not to know this part. They miss this part completely. Not only Jesus resurrected at the time, but other quote unquote saints. That's what it says in the Bible. So again, it's all about the sacredness and the sanctity of the rebirth. It's not just, you know, like, you know, your typical your typical birth or rebirth. You know, it's particularly sacred. So that's awesome, and certainly healing, and warrants celebration. When I picked this up, also up right behind it is that transience card, again, the need for healing, but also a card that is reflecting sanctity and sacredness, the trilogy of light, which is sort of like a trinity of light, or a trinity period, and the divine masculine and feminine coming together with the universe. And that's what we're, you know, always trying to do, striving to be nearer and dearer to the universe or to God, whatever you want to look at it, and however you want to call it. Also behind that, pretty awesome for you guys, is Moon Tree, which is a card, speaking of all this sacredness and sanctity, a card of sacred marriage. Represents the marriage between heaven and earth, so like the new earth and ascension and maybe ascended relationships, but also the marriage between two souls. And yes, it could also be showing up in part because we are a new full moon is upon us, because it tends to do that too, but that wouldn't be the only reason. This card, another one for me that is reflective of air and water signs, and again, most specifically of the air, Aquarius, but it could be any, and is sort of connected to the energy of the High Priestess, who from in the Tarot, Major Arcana card 2, who for me is a Gemini, or, you know, in some cases a water sign when I'm doing readings. And calls us to pay close attention to our intuition, you know, and trust those gut feelings and the guidance that our heart gives us, and that, you know, we feel spirit giving us. Trust it, surrender to it, follow it. Stop trying to dictate on your own what, you know, the universe or spirit should do instead. You do what it says. And also the need not to like show all your cards at once, as they say. Like, use the information wisely. That's what the High Priestess does. But also upright is the last one that's upright. Behind it, fear. So this is ego, pride, maybe something connected to pain and the sorrow that we saw, the inability to forgive, resentment, regret, ties to old past relationships and situations and circumstances that have scarred us and that we have yet to heal from. You may want to actually look into healing with all the stuff I've seen already. This is the first spread, but with all that we've seen already, you may want to look into healing, and it doesn't have to be with me. I mean, in general, So the next card is also, the next two are also reflective of the need for healing, but it's upside down. This is enchantment. And this woman, speaking of scars, I mentioned, you know, that this person might have been scarred as a child. This woman, you can see all her scars, like they're like battle wounds that she wears sort of like a badge of honor instead, because you can see this woman doesn't look troubled. She's still at her most vulnerable and in surrender, allowing the universe to heal her. You know, and here comes Venus and here comes Mars to do just that. Masculine about the union as a whole. Boom! Very nice for you. So now you've seen, and oh, I love when they do this too. At each end is this color scheme here of the, you know, the rainbow, first of all, but also, you know, like the red and yellow and blue and green, orange. Very nice. So you've seen soulmate and you've seen moon tree, two cards indicative of, you know, union, connection. Overall, golden path. Love this one. And It's another one, sorry to say, about the need for healing, but also that you're on the path toward it, you know, so you've begun to at least expose yourself to opportunities to be healed if you're not there yet. And that, you know, where we are in the path is personal, and, you know, there's no race to the end. There's no rush. You know, we all get there how we get, as long as you get there in one piece. You know, that's all that matters at the end. So speaking of rainbows, this card, I know you've seen some of my readings before, is connected to the energy of the Wizard of Oz for me. So, you know, somewhere over the rainbow. And there's all these rainbows here in this card too, actually. But the reason it really is because of the golden path itself. It sort of looks like the yellow brick road for me. And at the end of the yellow brick road, the reason Dorothy and the others were trying to get there was because at the end it was the Emerald City. And with the path, you know, for me, the end is the Emerald Ray, you know, and this energy of Archangel Raphael, who showed up here not too long ago in your reading with his sirens through my soundproof windows. My neighborhood I live 5 blocks east of the World Trade Center, and am a 9/11 survivor. So after the attacks, like the complex got new windows because of all the construction and everything that was going on. And the only thing that ever comes through my windows are sirens. Like, you can't hear anything else. So I was made to realize and understand, you know, fairly early on in doing this, that was Raphael. So yeah, he's also at the end of this path here, you know, to welcome you and to congratulate you on your healing and on your arrival. What the masculine have the feminine do toward toward the union? And it's the universal heart. It's more healing. This is the healer of all time, the healer of the ages, as they say, Jesus the Christ. So this is the sort of energy, Christ light, you know, not necessarily in a religious way, or Christian, you know, Christian way or anything like that. But in thinking more of as an ascended being, both yourself and Jesus the Christ, you know, of course, a much higher level. So we show reverence and respect for that, even if we're not so-called Christians. But the Christ light, Christ just was not his name. Christ just means anointed. So that light, the white light that's connected to that sort of energy, which he certainly possessed, is with what your divine masculine higher self would have you work, and what he would have you seek in, you know, healing this inner child in particular. What is he himself willing to do? He's going through this similar thing. He might be the one that's imbalanced. Maybe one of you has the codependent connections and, you know, connected to some toxic energy, and the other has the imbalance, because embrace is a card. It looks like just a couple, you know, in a very beautiful and tight embrace, loving hug. But really it is one person's inner masculine and feminine coming together in a harmonious way. So it's one person trying to get themselves together. And it's also connected to the energy of temperance in the tarot, which again represents the sign of Sagittarius. Over the universe have the 2 to do, reflection. So yeah, you've both got some of this work to do. And the reflection is all about, you know, looking back on your past. You know, what did you leave behind that you shouldn't have? What have you been carrying that you need not? And then you make adjustments. Look around your present, same thing. Look toward your future. What do I want to bring with me? What do I not want to bring with me? What do I want to have moved beyond before I go into my future? And that's with, those are the things that you will decide to keep or let go of. You know, you'll make adjustments. And the outcome, answer prayer. All you got to do is follow the guidance, work on yourselves, healing individually and as a unit, and your prayers will be answered. This card also, I have to mention, brings in the energy of both air and water signs for me. And again, most specifically, Aquarius and Scorpio. Aquarius and Scorpio. Which Scorpio again can be coming through because your ruling planet Jupiter is currently retrograde in Scorpio. Aquarius, Mars, ruler of Mars, Mars, part ruler of Scorpio, but also ruler of Aries, is also retrograde in Aquarius. So goes retrograde in Aquarius this week, but he's been there for about a month already. He's been in Aquarius. All right, I again don't want to take too much time, so I'm moving to another spread. So now that we've seen that there is some sort of divine connection here, union, partnership, we'll first see in what group, what wave we can expect to be included, hope to be included. So the Ace of Summer represent the first, of course, the Two of Summer the second, and the Three of Summer the third. I tend not to get into waves and stuff very often, but recently, because I'm not new to it. I used to do it in the beginning, but it was just my feeling that people, and my, not just my feeling, but what I got from the universe and educating me on how to educate others, it was people getting too caught up in it. And there are still some people that are very much caught up in it, and their lives sort of revolve around it, and it becomes something that's wrapped in ego and arrogance. I'm here and the rest of you are here, and that sort of thing. And so I just read for the whole collective. But as of late, I have been moved for some of you to sort of check on this, and I guess even more so in the weeks that followed my first couple of times doing it again since the beginning when I first started. In my last readings, I revealed some revelations that I actually had about, major shift coming, connected to the 22 degrees Gemini new moon that we just had on the 13th of June, and the summer solstice that we just had yesterday. Today's the 22nd. So June 21st was the solstice, and it's also, on this June 13th also, minutes after the new moon in 22 degrees Gemini, was a partial solar eclipse, 11 degrees Gemini. That's also part of it. And it's all sort of leading up to culminating in a full solar eclipse, from what I've been shown, that is to come in August, on August 11th. So I've been doing a lot of talking about this and trying to get people prepared for that event, and see, what part, if any, they may play in it, to the extent that we're able to ascertain that and foresee that. And that's why I've been doing it more and more, and that's why I'm about to do it for you. Okay, I have to explain that because I don't want people to say, "Oh, I thought you weren't into that." Well, yeah, you're right. You'd be right. I absolutely am not. Not in a way that we get all caught up in it and, it rules our lives. No. Not at all. This is carnelian. It's polished carnelian, of course. It's actually got a few other different kinds of stones in it. I like this moon here because carnelian is Isis's favorite stone, or one of her favorite stones. She also likes obsidian. But she is connected to, of course, the moon and to Sirius. So I like this one particularly for her. And I'm using that one for you. So not the second wave, not the first. This will be the third, and it's another card of celebration. So it may be connected to that overall energy of celebration. Oh, excuse me, from our last spread. Sorry about that. You have an exciting reason to celebrate, such as an engagement, a wedding, graduation, or a birth announcement. Remember to cherish those you love. So one of these events could be taking place around you as well. And you have reason to celebrate, and that is your union. Now we'll look quickly at what might be the primary focus. All of these unions meant to raise the planet's vibration through love, increased love. The problem is the planet has become overwrought with hate and hateful people and evil. But we were warned of that, right? That this too is in the scriptures. And again, not just the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, that the earth is the dominion of the devil or the dark, right? So one day, heaven and earth would merge. Like I mentioned with your moon tree card, heaven and earth would come together. This is too written. And when that happens, it's, a convergence of love upon the planet. And doing away with, those dark entities and beings. They will be no more on this plane with us, right? The alternate plane of existence that we can call hell, or we can call whatever. They'll be there, and we'll be here. So in getting to that point, what is the primary focus? So, in addition to love, in addition to raising the vibration of your union. So they can be just to show love, and well, I don't want to say just to show love, because I'm not slighting it or minimizing it. That's an awesome thing. But it can be like other people learning love by looking at you, like setting an example in love. The Ace of Winter actually being some sort of teacher, spreading some sort of wisdom, information about, maybe divine unions or ascended beings or something, spiritual, educational, both. Perhaps also this could be like live by the sword, die by the sword. I don't expect to ever die. So I don't mean literally. But you could be called to be, a member of the team of the sword, and maybe to be like a public speaker and fighting battles, an activist, that would be Ace of Winter. Ace of Autumn, it's possible you're meant to, raise funds and maybe help to fund some of the other beings, some of the other light beings, some of them, you're able to start some sort of business that will one day allow the two of you to be charitable, or just otherwise financially supportive or philanthropic, of somebody else in the collective, other members of the collective, and help them to be raised. Somebody's got to do that too. So that's Ace of Autumn. And Ace of Spring is where your primary focus would be creative projects and things like that. So even if it is like a job and the two of you start a business together, let's just say, it would be the kind of work about you which you are extremely passionate, doing the work that you love, like your dream job, something that allows your creative juices to flow. That would be the Ace of Spring. Okay, not the creative juices. Not the activism. And not just the love. You guys are meant to be some sort of very extremely abundant people. And that doesn't, again, that doesn't mean not in love. This means extremely abundant and able to share that. You can expect a windfall of abundance, such as money, timely assistance, a serendipitous meeting, or rewarding advice. You may be offered a fabulous new job or promotion, or the prospect of a profitable business venture or investment. Coming the way of the two of you as a couple. And now, since we are at 30 minutes, I'm going to do one more spread with the Adoring Virtue, Romance Angels, beginning with deception. Someone's wearing a false self mask in this relationship. But I think this, too, is connected to the codependency and or imbalance and opening to separation. Time apart from your partner is on the horizon. Separation is an illusion, and it shouldn't be something that is scary or worrisome. Heart-to-heart conversations can always fix it. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. And also, we separate so that we can allow parts of us to fall away and even die and give way to new chapters to end and close. And we come back as, new beings and with new love. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. Deception. And wedding. This situation involves marriage. Wedding. Also honeymoon, followed by honeymoon. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. And it's here under a full moon. This is where there's been difficulty. We're moving into calmer, stiller waters. This very nice gondola going through very, still ride here. Also, this can be reflective of when we do come back with that new love and everything's fresh and we're new beings and we're alive. The honeymoon phase of a situation and being happy. It could be connected to the timing. Timing can be important in your situation, whereas there is, again, a full moon coming up on the 28th. There was just a full moon pictured on that card. That can have some meaning for you. The full moon in Capricorn. Maybe it's connected to your Ace of Autumn as well. And, abundance coming in for the two of you. In some form, abundance comes in many forms. But, this is earth energy. And this could be connected to the Capricorn full moon as well. And lastly, chemistry. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. But I'm just drawn to the fact that I use this term. I talked about chemical balance and imbalance a few times in this reading. So I just want to make note of that. Chemistry. And children. Your love life is being affected by children. These can be your children. They can be his children. They can, and the way that they can be affecting you is maybe the other parent. Child with a parent could be causing something, or the children themselves, depending upon their age. We've had a lot of older children causing a rift where, because they don't know what they want to do with their lives, and it's very difficult, these days for children to sort of embark on their own. We've had people having difficulty leaving toxic relationships that are holding them back because of children. But also children comes up representative of ourselves too, when we have something like inner child to revisit, So it's like the child, you're the children it's talking about. That's also possible. Well, I just shuffled a bunch and children is still the overall energy. is that Sagittarian card. Very Cupid-like, and the archer, right, of Sagittarius. You deserve love. You are lovable, coming from the side of the masculine, shooting directly at you. Surrounded by engagement, your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So you continue to come together and to grow, both separate and apart. In the masculine subconscious, what he's thinking about is healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents, but it's not just your parents. Like I said, it could be your child's parent as well, or anybody, any and everybody who is so impactful upon your life, and further to that, your love life, that you can't move forward. You have to heal whatever your issue is with them. Whether healing means repairing it or walking away from them and loving them from a distance or never speaking to them again, whatever it means for you, you got to do that so that you can move forward. Crowning you, pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. Right now, this would be the only red flag on the table. It's connected to, again, the energy of Sagittarius for me. But just looking at the cards that I've used thus far and the cards that I will have used, you know, if this was a longer reading, embrace, again, the energy of the Sagittarius and the need, indicating a need for one's inner masculine and feminine to come into more wholeness and balance, the need for healing. Also, if I had used the Angel Tarot, I was going to begin with the Nine of Fire. Don't give up. Protect that which you've created. Have courage and believe in yourself. This is about, you know, maybe feeling down, but being reminded that you're not out. You know, that you've still got a little bit left in you to finish off this fight because you're almost done. And if I had used this, I would have used also the begun with young female, which also reflects the energy of Sagittarius for me. This young redhead, red lip, red skirt, and youthful Sagittarius. Of course, the more youthful of the element of fire. So that card represents this of the planet Jupiter and the energy of Sagittarius for me too. So those are the red flags for you. You're surrounded by separation. Time apart from your partner is on the horizon. But to recapture the romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine, which should be easy for you as a Sagittarius. That's what you guys do. Similar to the other mutable signs. But I was about to say, I don't really feel that this is for the partner. I feel that this is some other person, and maybe it's a family member, or I don't even know if you have children, but maybe like that's what's going on. If I had used the Angel Tarot, I would have seen more characters perhaps. But unrequited love is, again, another card that's about imbalance for me, and the need for an individual to work on their own personal well-being and health. But also it tells me that there's like somebody around, again, we're not necessarily romantic, but somebody around the union that needs to be removed, you know, that is an obstacle. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. At the root, calling in your soulmate, your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. So that's what you're in the process of doing, despite these blocks that keep trying to get in front of you. And at the heart of the matter, let your friends help you. Ask for and accept support from others. And I would say that these are the, you know, angels and saints and your ancestors that would be upon whom I call. But if you have friends on this plane that you feel comfortable calling on to, that works as well. I'm going to look for an upright card to take another look at separation. And it's make the effort. So if you're in separation and you feel the genuine, not out of ego, but a genuine move from spirit to reach out of unconditional love, you are guided to follow through with that feeling. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. Unrequited love, what else might that be connected? Deception. Someone's wearing a false self-mask in this relationship. So if somebody is telling themselves that they belong somewhere else, for example, or in another situation that is preventing them from union, whether it's a family situation, as in like their parents or their siblings, or it's because they're still connected to somebody else romantically or something, they're fooling themselves. Okay, that's not going to work. It's not going to cut it. And pay attention to the red flags. Signs are cautioning you. Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. So you, as an individual, may need to go into some separation too, in order to, again, work on self. And that can be getting out into nature, connecting with the energy of Earth and Mother Nature to open up this flow of abundance and get it moving. Further advice for the masculine, gateway. So I think you're still going to be part of this shift, the two of you, even though you may be included. And I don't know how the waves, how quickly back to back they will be. I just know that they exist, that they're written about in many places, including, again, the scriptures, and in different ways and on more than one occasion. And I know what I was shown. And I know that it's been coming true and people have been able to see evidence of it. Everything that I said in connection to it, including the attacks and the stones that would be breaking and the jewelry that would be lost and the hair that would be coming out, unfortunately, and the people that would die. Like, everything is actually happening. So I'm feeling that you will be impacted by this shift, this gateway, so to speak. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned earlier, although I meant to, that the period that I'm talking about and I've been talking about through August 11th also covers the period of the Lion's Gate, which is this year will be 8811, August 8th, 2018, which equals 2018 equals 2 or 11. So the date will be 8811. Or 99, and maybe the end of a lot of difficulties for a bunch of us, but also a call to humanitarianism. That's what nines also mean. People think they just mean endings, but 9 is also you're being activated to serve a higher purpose for humanity as well. So that this is back for you, as if we didn't see it enough already in this reading. You got to let go of your control issues. Masculine, being moved to, here's that air and earth energy again too, being moved to take a leap of faith. The dreamer is the fool in the traditional tarot. Here it's pictured with the Archangel Metatron. And it reminds me, or brings to mind for me, the energy of the planet Mercury, which is my ruler as a Gemini, or one of my rulers. But it's also the ruler of the sign of Virgo. So that is more of this earth energy. There's maybe trying to get abundance, trying to make its way to you guys. A leap of faith, follow your dreams. That leads to unexpected opportunities. The Fool is about walking a brand new path that you never walked before. So again, definitely trying something new and just on faith. For you, 6 of Water. This is very inner child like that same card. It's about nostalgia. It's about revisiting your childhood, revisiting your past, dealing with those issues, maybe physically bumping into a bunch of those people, and having to work things out with them one way or another and close chapters and, just find closure in your relationships where they were left open-ended and all that kind of stuff. Can also have to do with children, your children, masculine's children, or some children that are somehow otherwise impactful upon the union. And then the 6 of Water is also about soulmate relationships for me. Memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children, and romanticizing the past. And from the romance angels for the masculine, this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. And for yours, it's another card that, you know, sort of like this, make the effort, express your love. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. So I went 15 minutes over, but I think we still, you know, we did everything that we had to do. So I'm not sorry. I hope that you enjoy your reading, you find it helpful. Namaste, Angel.